Listen. Yeah. So over here we are starting with the lesson as pollination by wind. As we have discussed earlier that what do we mean by pollination? Pollination is actually the reproduction of your flowers. That how do the flowers reproduce? All right. There are different techniques of the flowers to reproduce. There are different techniques and there are different terms for that. All right. We have already done this in the previous class, so I will not get into it very thoroughly, but I will just tell you that there are two types of pollination: cross pollination and self pollination. All right, today we will do a wind pollination, that is the third category of your pollination process. But before starting with any of those process, first of all, I would like to remind you all that what is actually pollination. So over here, as you can see it on your screens, that pollination is the transfer of pollen grain from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower. Now, what is an anther? Anther is the long part of the flower that exists inside a flower, right? And anther is the top part of a flower. उसके ऊपर जो छोटे छोटे से गोल spots होते हैं ना, that is known as your stigma. ठीक है ना? It is basically sticky. Now, what is a fertilization? Fertilization occurs when the male pollen unites with the female egg. Now, we will be doing fertilization in the next class. So, for today, you just need to keep in mind that what is a pollination, all right? Pollination, in simpler language, I would tell you that it is basically a process through which pollen from one flower with the help of a wind goes and stick on the stigma of another flower. यानी कि हवा के जरिए एक फ्लावर से दूसरी जगह वो उड़ के जाता है और दूसरे फ्लावर के स्टिग्मा के ऊपर आके स्टिक हो जाता है. सो दैट इज बेसिकली pollination, right? Now there are different steps of pollination like cross pollination, self pollination, pollination by animals, pollination by winds. So today we will do pollination by winds. ठीक है? So what is the process of pollination by winds? Let me tell you that. Yeah. So over here again I have shared one picture that this is the process of wind pollination. Now, what are the flowers that include into wind pollination? There are different flowers which are hired for wind pollination, which is rich for wind pollination. Now, what are the specifications or characteristics of those flowers? Two of them are written over here. These flowers produce a large amount of pollens. सबसे पहले तो ये जो flowers होते हैं ये क्या produce करते हैं? A very large amount of pollen. And then this increases the chances of pollen landed on stigmas. आप लोगों ने कभी कभार देखे होंगे when you ever if you have ever been into a garden, you must have seen that sometimes the flowers have a very long leaves, and in that leaves and between the leaves you can see a very long sticky types of substance. आपने देखा होगा green color के flowers होते हैं. Picture is also made over here and a picture of this of one of the example is also made on page number 86 from your book. आपने देखा होगा कि उसके ऊपर क्या होता है, लॉन्ग लॉन्ग लीव्स होते हैं और एक व्हाइट कलर का सब्सटेंस नजर आ रहा होता है. So these are basically flowers which are rich for wind pollination. Why do you think that leaves of such flowers are very tall and are very long? Because it can move easily by wind. जो भी चीज tall या long होती है, for example your strand of hair, आपके बाल ये wind से उड़ते हैं ना, हवा से. अगर आपके बाल बहुत शॉर्ट होंगे तो वो नहीं उड़ेंगे. बॉयज की बाल ज्यादातर नहीं उड़ते. Why? Because boys have short hairs as compared to girls. But girls can relate to me very evenly कि गर्ल्स के जो हेयर होते हैं वो बहुत जल्दी जल्दी हवा से उड़ जाते हैं because they are long. Similarly, one example of flowers which can be pollinated by winds are extremely long. Now over here I would like to tell you, I would like to actually show you one video regarding it. Okay, now here is a picture. In this picture they are telling us about the parts of flowers that includes into the process of pollination, especially into the wind pollination. All right, so in wind pollination flowers are different in structure because they do not have to attract insects to them but to need to be exposed to the winds. All right, one very important thing that the flowers which are there or the leaves which are there into the wind pollination, what is the basic characteristic of it is they are not there to attract insects. हमने पहले जो पढ़ा था, they were there to attract the insects, but these kinds of flowers are not there to attract the insect. This is the reason that they are odorless, यानी कि इसके अंदर कोई खास स्मेल नहीं होती, कोई खुशबू नहीं होती. There is no fragrance into these flowers, right? Now, pollen grains are very small and light. They occur in a large number. Pollen grains क्या होते हैं? These are very small and light, and people can sometimes not even see them as it is very small and light. It is a very small snow kind of a features. ठीक है, जैसे snow नहीं होती बहुत छोटे छोटे से, ये वैसे होते हैं. Now, petals of these flowers are small and green as there is no need to attract insects. Now petals are very simple, small and green. Why? The petals are simple because they are not over here to attract the insects. ये इसलिए नहीं होते कि ये insects को अपने पास attract करें. This is the reason that the petals of these flowers are very small. Now, third one, anthers are exposed to the wind so that pollen can easily be blown away. As I have explained you earlier, एंथर्स क्यों एक्सपोज हो रहे होते हैं? ताकि जाहिर सी बात है पोलेंस इनके ऊपर एक जगह से दूसरी जगह बहुत इजीली आ जाएं. And if you can see, they have put an arrow onto the anthers very clearly ताकि आपको पता चल जाए that what actually anthers of these flowers are. Now fourth one, stigma. What are stigma? The long leaves of the flowers. Stigma are feathery to catch pollen carried on the wind. अब ये feathery होते हैं यानी कि इनके ऊपर पर लगे हुए होते हैं, इनके ऊपर फर्स लगे हुए होते हैं. क्यों होते हैं? So that it can catch the pollen carried on the wind. यानी कि हवा से जो pollen आ रहा है ये इसको अपने पास catch कर सके. Because अगर ये sticky होगा या अगर ये straight होगा, इसके ऊपर कोई फर नहीं होगा, so it would be very difficult to catch pollen from the wind on it. All right, I hope you people have got whatever I have just explained it to you.